All right, we're live.
Here we are. So I'm Cindy Sadler and it's Christine Mandese, and we are here at our first Google Live broadcast to answer questions that you might have. So please tune in and ask us some questions.
Yep, you can get to the Google form right on this link. There should be a link to the Google form, or Mrs. Sadler sent out an email with the link so that you can really just post your responses, and we're going to answer questions as they come in. All right, so our first question is, what are the dates for fourth grade kneecap and park dates for grade 3, 4, and 5?
Okay, well, we have a schedule that we've finally come up with, and we're going to be sending that out probably this afternoon. I can send it out through email. And if you have any questions, let me know. I sent out a copy to our staff a couple of weeks ago, and they were kind enough to give me feedback. So I think we've got everybody pretty happy. We've got all our events included on it. So we have a chance to dance. We have lots of things going on, sense of pride for grade 4. So you'll see it's color-coded by each grade, and the students will have 3 sessions of ELA and 4 sessions of math. So we tried to have it so they don't test every day, so it's kind of a day or 2 per week. And it's so it starts the Tuesday right after vacation. So the Monday after vacation, we're hoping the teachers will reestablish all the rituals and routines in the classroom, and then we can start right in with the testing on Tuesday the 26th. We should be all finished with the park testing around the 12th or so, and then we have to do kneecap testing for grade 4 only, which is a science kneecap. So we'll be finished up around the 18th with all the tests. 19th we should be finished up, and then we'll do some makeup tests after that. But we will be holding makeup sessions every afternoon. So if your child may have missed a day, say they're in 3rd grade, they missed a test on one day, the next afternoon when they're here, we'll probably give them a test. They wouldn't have one in the morning. So we'll try to make it so it works for everybody.
And it is a very detailed process that
Very
Mrs.
detailed.
Sadler goes through to make it, if you want to show them.
Yeah.
Even show them our sample of everything that
This is
really
sample,
goes
just so you
into
can see
it.
the color coding. It's pretty advanced with all the things that we have to include. And it makes for a lot of changes for everyone. In fact, it impacts almost everyone in the building because their specials have to change. We really want to take advantage of the morning time for kids to be tested. So we start our testing right around 9 o'clock most mornings. So we've made some changes in our community assemblies. We've made some changes in concerts and so on so that this will work out. So we're in a pretty good place with this. I will send it out. If you have any questions or comments, please, send them to me so that we can make any other changes that we need to do. But I think we've thought this through pretty well. Starting tomorrow, students will be practicing on Park. Park provides us with a practice site and practice tests for ELA and math, several of each. So they're all set up to kind of get the feeling of what a park test is like tomorrow. They'll be doing it for the next week or so, practicing before vacation, so they're ready to go after vacation.
Perfect. And that kind of fits well with our next question with how do our students prepare for park? So like Mrs. Sadler said, they have a park practice site that they're going on to actually go into, Pearson Access Next Park and practice with the tools that they're going to need for math and ELA. But we've also had a lot of practice happening throughout the school as well, including Mrs. Axelson, our instructional lead, going into classrooms and really working with teachers and students on answering problems together. What do strong responses look like for ELA and math, and having the students really practice them within the curriculum that we already have here at Hugh Cole.
Right, especially with both of those, especially with any kind of word problem or with writing, there's students have to use text evidence, and it's complex, and it's really quite challenging because they have to answer something right first, then they move on to other parts, and they have to be able to continue to follow their thoughts through that. So it's quite challenging. Pearson also provides another site that has just some practice tests that teachers can pull up for students. It's not exactly like a test site like the Brown, call it the Brown site, which is a practice site. We're starting that tomorrow, and we're all set for that. Most of our computers have the test nav on them now so that we're ready.
Mm-hmm.
It's with a school this size, we have quite a few computers to get ready, about 300, and so we had to get them all ready for everybody too. to do the testing.
So we feel our students are really ready this time around. They've had a lot of practice. We've spent some time looking at park rubrics on what is the real proficient expected response that we want for ELA and math. So if you ask your students, if you have a 3rd, 4th, or 5th grader at home, even a 2nd grader, they might be able to really share some of that. They should be able to share a lot of the work that they've been doing in class with you.
Okay, so I think we're pretty much ready for that. If you do want to send a snack in for that time, or if your teacher organizes snacks, we usually give the kids a nice snack and a beverage before they begin. Before they begin their testing, we'll be providing some water as we did last year and some snacks around, so that make sure that no one starts hungry. But we are starting at 9, and with the grab and go breakfast between the two, we should have plenty of food for the children. So they'll be ready to be in a good test place for this. So I think we're as ready to go as we're going to be. A little more training for teachers just to get their nerves down a little bit, and we should be ready to roll.
Yep, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to email the classroom teacher, email Cindy or I, and we'd be happy to answer any questions or concerns over the schedule, the testing, anything that you need. We're here to help.
Great.
All right, so the next question that we have is, what events are coming up at the end of the year, and how can parents stay informed of these events?
Well, this is a really busy time of year for all of us. We have lots of end-of-year activities that are traditional for our school. We have field day. We have the step-up ceremony for grade 5. We have Sense of Pride for grade 4, where they learn about architecture and walk through the town of Warren. We have Sportsmanship Day. We have Arbor Day. We have, you name it, we have it. We have a circus talent show. So what we'll do is, right now, we'll have it in like a list form just for your purposes. I know that you get the monthly calendar, but that's not really enough lead time, if you ask me, for the end of year activities, because many of you don't want to miss anything in particular that your child's involved in. So I'll get a list out to you within the next few days. So plan on the first week of April, you'll get a nice list of everything that's coming out just right through an email. And then as you see the calendars, you can at least mark the date, save the dates for those big events, because we do love to have parent involvement. Our cookout that we have from Chartwell's, which was quite expansive last time. It was so many parents wanted to come. We're doing that in 2 days this time, 2 different days. So we'll do the kids that eat first lunch, the first of the series of lunches one day. And so you'll get more information on that and how that's going to work out when we have our hamburger hot dog day. And then we'll have our cookout also under the pavilion. And so we've got a lot going on, and we'll get it all out to you. So it's pretty exciting to have the springtime.
Definitely, and we're also going to be putting out a lot of those dates on Facebook and on the classroom, on our school website, and even on teacher classroom websites for you, so that you can be able to get access to them quickly if you're not at home. So make sure you like our Facebook page. If you just go into Facebook and search Hugh Cole School, it'll come right up. And then make sure you check out our district website, and all the events will be posted on there as well if you need them quickly. All right, so another question is, can you explain a little bit more about K screenings? So coming up is kindergarten screenings for our students that will be entering kindergarten. Those dates are all on the website, the district website.
We finished the registration for the first session, first time, like our regular session to get students ready for our May screening. They're done. They were finished in the last couple of weeks.
So during case screening, we actually have a lot of our teachers at Hugh Cole School that participate and test students that are coming in, just to see their skill level and where they are as learners, what they know academically, even socially. We get to know each student. They rotate through different stations with the teachers. And we take that information and then look at where we're going to place them in the classrooms. Right.
So it's readiness for numbers, letters, spatial kinds of things. We look at gross and fine motor coordination. So a lot of different things, balance, you name it, we do it, so that we can see, okay, how is this child developing, and where are they, and what would be the best placement for them. Okay. We have 5 kindergarten classes. So as a general rule, we start the year off with 15 to 18 in each class, and then students always add as the year goes on. So we usually end up around 20 or so.
Yes. All right.
So if you haven't registered your child, or
Yeah,
you know
make sure you do
someone
that.
that hasn't registered your child, still do it. Do it now. It's
Mhm.
even though the registration may be over, you may not be able to get into the May screening, but you may. If not, we have an August screening as well, for like last minute. But we really do like to screen the students. The students that start in September often don't have a screening, and we don't get to really know what their skills
Yeah.
are before we get them.
Yeah.
We're really blind to anything that they've experienced.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial for the kindergarten teachers to have as much information as possible about
Mhm.
students who are entering, so that they can
Right.
start groups right away and kind
Yeah.
of, we want to know where students are so we can help them move forward.
Exactly.
All right. What do teachers do on professional days? So we have a couple of professional days per year, actually 2 during the year, and then 1.5 days before school actually starts. So this year we were lucky enough to have 2 professional days, and one was really focused on science, looking at the new NGSS science standards and how how teachers can use those standards in their classroom instruction. And our second day, we really allow teachers to work together in teams. And look at data and focus on some of our school-wide goals, one of them being assessment literacy, looking at data, where students are, helping them set goals for how they can improve. So they really spent that day looking at student work, looking at goal setting for students, coming up with different rubrics, proficiency scales, continuums on where students are and how to move them to the next level. And they spent a lot of that time really just working as a collaborative team on that work.
This coming year, we're adopting something called STEM Scopes for science, and that's a curriculum that will be great for our school. And so we're training a little bit right now, our teachers, but I'm sure we'll do a lot more during the summer and early in the fall for them in that. And if you want to know what NGSS, we use so many letters in education. NGS is the next generation science standards, and they're available online. And you can see what the expectations are for every different grade level. We'll also be explaining that to you in our at our open house next fall. We'll try to have a handout for you so you have some idea of what areas of science each grade level will be experiencing during that year.
Yeah, and you can actually go right on the Bristol Warren website under curriculum and instruction and download the units of the science units for each grade level, so you can actually see what your students are working on in their classrooms. All right. So let's see another question that came up. How can working parents be more involved in the preschool parent advisory if it's during the day? So that was a question that came in actually before, during the week after Mrs. Sadler sent the email out. So I actually had a chance to talk to the preschool team about this. And they do have a parent advisory that's during the day, in the middle of their day, and it is hard. We understand that as a working parent to get to the meeting. So we're gonna post their email so that you can ask them questions, or if there's questions, comments, or concerns at any time, Daria and Amy are always willing to answer questions or get feedback on how to improve, or what they can do to include more parents in the preschool program.
Maybe they could do this.
I know.
They could broadcast.
Yeah, that would be great. Just a question answer session for parents in preschool to really, find out what the needs are, or any questions or answers they may have. So, all right. What are some of the school-wide goals that you are working on this year? We have just mentioned those, so we can elaborate. One of our school-wide goals, we have a few this year. One of them was assessment literacy, like I mentioned before, which is happening school-wide in every classroom, including itinerants, music, everywhere. Reading specialists are working with their students on it. And it's really about students understanding their learning targets, what they need to learn, making sure that they are setting goals for where they are as learners, and then that peer and self-assessment piece, understanding here's where I am, or if you're working with a partner, here's where you are, and here's what I need to do to improve.
Right, and they have the rubrics are made so they're kid-friendly, and they have different areas about it's in language they understand as the things that they need to improve upon and what they've accomplished.
Yeah. So we see this type of work happening in so many classrooms as
Mhm.
we do walkthroughs in rooms. For example, in a first grade room I went into, students were looking at their writing, and they were looking at a rubric, and they were saying, here's where I fall with this
Mhm.
piece of writing. You know, I have a beginning, I have a middle. You know, I've added my capitals, my periods. So looking at grammar and kind of self-assessing where they are, and then even setting a goal for themselves. Here's what I need to do to get to that next level. So that's happening across the board, even in math, looking at their work, their word problem, and saying, did I answer all the pieces? Did I, explain well enough? Did I show a picture to explain my thinking?
How about more about the continuum? What's that really about? What should parents know about that?
Yeah, so in different classrooms and different content areas, it looks different, but really it's about understanding what is our standard, what's the proficiency level that we want students to be at.
Mhm.
So if that's that level 3, and how do we get there? So then we look at the different levels up to that 3. So, if they're not there yet, what does a 2 look like? What does a 1 look like? So we want students to be able to see, where am I on that scale? Am I at that 3 that I need to be at, or am I at a 1 right now? So they can actually see, well, what do I need to do to get to that 3? And then they can use actually to help set a goal to get there. So ask your students at home. They all should be familiar with the continuum work happening here. Some teachers are doing it for all content areas, some for writing, some for math. So ask your students at home about that and where they are and what they can kind of do to improve.
Right, so each continuum could be individualized based on the project they're working on,
absolutely.
or whatever it is. So the teachers really adapt the continuum for their grade level and for the type of project they're working on, so that the students can see. So for example, if they're doing an animal project or something, for example, in first grade, they know exactly what's expected as they move along from 1 to 3, and 3 being proficient.
Absolutely. So that was one of our goals that we really had students working with this year, and especially around that goal setting, students understanding where they are and what they need to do to improve in all areas. A lot of teachers have data binders, and you might have seen these at parent conferences or when you come in for for like a sharing. Students have the data binder where they're keeping assessments, where they're keeping their goals that they are working on as a learner, and using that as a tool for them to kind of make progress in each of their areas.
They do.
So, and then another goal that we've worked on at the school is PBIS. And that's really looking at our school-wide, culture and behavior modules and how we can improve all of those pieces within our school. We started an initiative working with pom-poms and having students earn pom-poms for good behavior, really working around the positive piece, identifying, how we can give students encouragement and positives throughout the day.
The pom-poms are so popular with the little kids.
Yeah.
Not so much the 4th and 5th grade because they're a little cool. But the little kids really do enjoy getting the pom-poms, and they can get them at recess or lunch or in the hallway, anywhere they show a positive behavior.
Yeah, so we really worked on that as a kind of a new initiative this school year. Okay.
The only thing we might talk about too is the technology team.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the technology team, we have a DLT, a district technology leadership team, and we have several teachers from here, and Christine is on that as well. And what they do is they work with Tom Driscoll, who is our technology guru, and he works with them as to different apps they can use, different ways we can use technology in the classroom. The lab classroom teachers have have iPads in their classrooms they can use with their students. And we've had quite a bit of great results, especially I've had an opportunity to see quite a few of the first grade class projects, and they're pretty amazing how they can make little stories and have them all acted out and everything right on the iPad.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's the kids really like it. It's a real, it really grabs their attention. So in combination with paper to pencil to paper, it's a nice combination to have some technology and some more traditional learning for students. And we intend to expand it as time goes on. We have things before, after school, the Tuesday teacher tips, so that teachers come in before school, and often it's technology related.
Yeah. That digital learning team is great within our school. They're actually working on action research projects, looking at a project with Tom Driscoll and putting it into action in their room, and then collecting data to determine if it worked, if they see improvements, if they see an increase in data within their classrooms using this project. So that's happening, and we have about 4 classroom teachers that are part of this work right now. So if you go into their rooms, you'll see this, happening on a daily basis. And the great part about Hugh Cole is that so many of our teachers wanted to take it on. So now when you walk into any room, we see iPads, green screen students in 4th grade. Even today I walked by, and kind of joined in. They were doing biography, green screen puppet videos for their project that they completed. So really we have teachers that aren't part of our digital learning team really jumping in and saying they want to take part in this too. And that's the really great part about our schools. Everybody wants to join in when they, see something exciting and engaging for our students. So, all right.
Do we have
Let's
any
see
more
if there are any more
questions?
questions. No. Refresh our page. All right, did we answer that one? How do we assign student classrooms at Hugh Cole?
That's a great question. At this time of year, parents start sending me letters saying, I really want this teacher or that teacher. And we really do discourage that. What we are trying to find, though, is the right match. We try to find, we're fortunate that we have about a 5-track school in most grades. And so we try to find the right match with the right combination of students with the right personality of teacher and what will work for that student. And we really do rely quite substantially on the classroom teacher they've just had the year prior. Yep. So that teacher's had them all year long, and now they can help to make a judgment as to where would be a good place for them. I do not mind getting letters if it says my student has a particular need or likes the personality of a particular kind of person as their teacher, either whether they're super structured or not so much or whatever, things like that. But I can't put friends with friends. I can't. It's just too complex. We have too many things to do. So we really do try to do our very, very best. And it is a thoughtful process that we work on for weeks before it's decided.
Yeah, definitely. But teachers really work together well. They really collaborate with their team to look at all the students, look at where they are, what they need, and put the best mix together. It's really a complicated,
it's very complicated,
time-consuming task that we ask our teachers, and we do. Mrs. Sadler and I take part in that, along with itinerant teachers, Mr. Kinder and Mrs. Hayden, so that we can all find the best fit for your child. And really, that's what we try to do and strive to do with every grade level.
Right. And this year, we're probably going to work more with, say, the Ks will work with grade 1. The 1s will work with 2, so that we really work back and forth so that everybody has some say and some, really works this out. It's very complex.
Yeah, definitely.
Because making the student placement is probably one of the most important decisions that we make for the year.
Definitely.
Like who they're with and how it's going to work out. So that's what we want to do a good job of that.
Yeah. All right, so we just got another question. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing our kids these days? What is Hugh Cole School doing to help our students face that challenge?
Well, one challenge that I see every day is our students need more work with social skills. And I find that we are finding this, like recess is difficult. I think that many students either participate in organized sports after school, so it's really organized and structured, or they don't participate in sports, so they don't really have playtime outside with just other kids without adults around to kind of work things out, take turns, practice using good words and things like that. So as we move forward, we're going to try to start a morning meeting next year so that we are going to train for that this spring and into the fall. We'd like to have a morning meeting which will support our PBIS program or our positive behavior program so that students can have like things that they work on socially so they can do better with playing and working with others. That's a hard thing for kids, is to really become a good playmate. And we're really working it through. We're trying to see how we can support them in that area.
I definitely see that as a big challenge that we have, that social piece in our classrooms. So we really worked, we started the Pom Pom initiative this year with PBIS to really support more positive reinforcement throughout the school. So really looking at that morning meeting piece, it will really build a culture within our classrooms. So that's what we're really looking to do. We're also talking with our PBIS team about additional assemblies on just modeling what positive behavior looks like to add to the social piece, and really bringing our school social worker and psychologist in on that, so students can actually like practice
and act things out.
And so they can see what that behavior looks like and maybe what it doesn't look like as well. And then bringing in that community piece together as a school to really help that culture, along with the morning meetings, which would take place in the mornings, about 10 minutes, where students would actually greet each other and participate in an activity based on, what that teacher feels that classroom needs. We need to work on bullying, we need to work on building friendships. So those pieces would really tie into the morning meeting. So we're going to have some teachers actually trying that out this year.
We've already have one that started.
We have that one teacher that actually started is really enjoying it. So we are actually purchasing some of the books and have some other teachers that are part of our PBIS team ready to try out some more meetings in their classrooms. So we're hoping that really we can even create like a toolbox at Hugh Cole School if he has some teachers that tried it, some different morning meeting tips that worked, to really help with the culture. So
that's probably one of the bigger challenges that we have, especially at this time of year. They're outside, they've got lots of energy, and sometimes they're not always, they don't realize how strong they are, or they don't realize that they start playing and then the playing goes bad because somebody pushes a little too hard. And so we have a lot of misinterpreted kinds of play issues, which happens not uncommonly in elementary school, more in the upper grades and lower, but we still have that. Another big challenge, I think, for kids too, is to be able to balance between technology as enjoyment at home and technology at school, and plus like learning and reading, and trying to make sure there's a balance between not all technology, some actually reading books, and trying to have a balance in education. So I think if families can continue to work on that balance, make sure the child always has a book that they're reading, make sure that they do have some time to do computer work at home too, like research or things they're interested in, as well as games, not all just the computer games is really helpful.
Absolutely.
So, but thank you for coming on. We really appreciate having a question.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate all of our questions.
Yes.
So another challenge that I think that we could even talk about too is students kind of balancing that, what you said, the technology piece, and some of the when we're building our students to be more independent learners, some of that project-based learning piece. So the balance between that and the curriculum that we have, so how we kind of tie all those components in together. I saw some great 5th grade projects today with students actually building, their own math games and, researching different projects, actually like creating their own projects and sharing those out. So I think that's a challenge for students, making sure that we're building independent learners, and then being able to kind of take that learning to the next level. And we're just trying to look at our curriculum and say, do we have some of that project-based learning built in, and how can we kind of build more of that?
Project-based learning was very popular. It's kind of recycled around, and it's becoming popular again. Having taught project-based learning for a long time, it's really nice to let the parents know what you're looking for each of the little within the project deadlines, because you want to help your child, but you often don't know how much to help them or what to do at certain dates. So if things are kind of broken into little pieces, I know as a parent, I always appreciated knowing, so what do you have to do this week, and what do you have to do next week, so that you kind of can break it down. And that really helps parents, and if the teacher can communicate. The other thing too is, once we've done it for a while, it's always great to have examples of strong and weak work for students to see in projects and in writing and in any project. So with assessment literacy, we look at strong work, so students get to see what strong examples of work are and what the weak work is. And they can critique that and know what they need to do to make theirs better.
All right.
Okay. I think
it looks like that's all the questions that we have today.
Yeah. Any more questions before we shut down? This is the last minute here.
I know. I'll quickly refresh our page to see if we have any additional ones here. All right. I think that's it. So
thank you so much for our question.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And we're going to post this on our website and on the Facebook
Oh,
page,
boy.
so that if you were not able to join, you will have access to
Great.
everything we answered. So
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. Don't forget the Joint Finance Committee meeting tonight at 7
Yes.
p.m. at KMS.